Hello. Is everyone there? I'm waiting for this video to pop up here on this other page. I should be streaming. Ah, there's me. Cool. I take it everyone can hear me? People are saying hi. Okay, cool. So for today, I am going to make some shield bashing sounds, some blocks, and some attacks. There's three basic types of attacks. Crushing, slashing, and piercing. So I'm going to work on the blocks. So this would be when you use a shield to block one of those three types of attacks. I kind of already set this session up a little bit to already have some audio files in there. And yeah, let me see what someone's saying to me. Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, I've got some stuff down here. Lots of clanks, metallic-y sounds. Some of these I actually recorded myself. Not those. And some wood. So just trying to give you an idea of what I have to work with. Kind of little dinks. And some piercings. I've already organized them based on what I think it's going to be. Oh, I just realized my video is it's all grainy. Am I broadcasting in 720 or something? Maybe I just don't have my own settings high enough on the preview over here. Let me see if that changes it. Yeah, that looks... Did it just change for you? Yeah, I think it's better. It should be high enough resolution. Let me make sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you guys can read the names of those tracks, so it's not that bad. I mean, this is a audio-focused podcast anyway, so it's not like we need super high resolution. Okay. Okay, so that's all of what I've kind of pulled out to work with ahead of time, just so you aren't listening to me go through dozens upon dozens of sounds. So let's work on the crush. I have pulled some out already that... Let's see if I can find the ones that I liked. Okay, those are probably part of them. Yeah, these are all probably... Okay. I'm going to pull these back to the front and start layering them in. I'm going to do probably 4 variations of each. Oops. I'll just do that. Just getting some lined up. Okay, that's kind of a hollow, metallic-y sound. I would like it to be a little harder. So let's see if I can add another layer in there. Yeah, that's fine. Those are all pretty similar. I might actually see if I have a wooden kind of, I need like a deep thud that I want in there. And I have something, I just gotta find it. That might have been it. That could possibly work too. I don't know if it has a low end. Is that it? No, that one. Okay, I'm gonna take this, throw this up in the front, do my little strip silence trick to kind of automatically dice them for me. I really only need the lowest part. Okay, just checking on chat, making sure everything's still working. No one seems to be complaining. So I'm gonna boost this in the low end a little bit. Because I want it to have some weight to it, because this is when you're blocking a crushing impact. And then probably what I would do later is I'd actually bounce this out as a separate layer. And then that way I could change the level of this particular thud within the overall context of the sound. Because wooden like poles and other things like that that still do crushing damage but aren't necessarily as heavy, probably wouldn't really make sense for them to sound as heavy as this. So I don't need all that tail. It just needs to be a little short punch. Probably as much as I need. Okay. So see, that's it without it. And with it. Feels a little bit heavier. I'm going to crunch this guy up a little bit, or maybe a lot, we'll see. This is a compressor that changes the dynamic level of the audio. This is bringing up the low end on that too. That control's always been real subtle to me. Kind of want a little crunch to it. There we go. Cool. And then without that, you almost don't need it now. Maybe we should have compressed it first. Yeah. Gonna have to goose that. I don't know if I want to goose it that much. Almost doesn't need it. Since you are blocking, I'm going to add a little bit of a ring to it, just because that usually indicates that you've blocked something in most games. At least the feeling that you've stopped something, as opposed to just hitting you. So, let's see if I can find. So yeah, let's do that. And duplicate this track again. I like to keep my tracks color coordinated. Bring this guy down here. And bring it to the front. And do my strip silence thing. I really only need the tail of this. Wonder if this is going to be long enough. So I don't want any low end on this, and I really only need the high end. So I mean, that's probably fine. Now I'm going to have to compress it, obviously, because it's too quiet. It's pretty low gain already. It might not. Let's see. There's not a lot of high end up there anyways. This might not be the right sound for this. Oops, meant to click that. It's funny, it's not really compressing because it's so low gain to begin with. I mean, it's there, just kind of grainy sounding. Let's just see what that sounds like in context. Okay. I think I can deal with that for now. I mean, I almost want it to be even louder, but it's going to get grainy. And you can kind of hear the ambient noise floor static in that as I'm turning it up louder and louder because it's already such a quiet sound. But I think it's okay. Let's chop these other guys up. There. Yeah, someone's asking, what if the shield is wood? Well, I'll have to make a different, basically component from this. I'd change this sound, so I will get to that later. I'm just doing the metal stuff now. But yeah, you're right. This wouldn't work if it was a wooden shield. So I'm gonna... that one is actually a better ring than the previous one. Pretty. Doesn't have to be super long or anything. You don't want to make real long sounds for these type of things. It's just supposed to kind of tell you what's going on. They're not supposed to be real flashy sounds. You know, it's more communicative than it is like impressive, I guess. It's just informing you of what your actions are doing and what's happening on the battlefield around you. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. I don't know if I really like that. Yeah, I probably like it better lower there. I was changing the frequency of what this thing boosts. It's a kind of artificial bass enhancer. Sounds better there. Up here it sounded more like a door. And I want it more subby. Set it out this other ring. Yeah, and then someone else is asking if the hammer is stone. This is actually kind of like one part of a two-part system. This is the sound coming from the thing being hit, which is this shield, and then we'll have the sound of the thing doing the hitting, which would be the hammer. So that would be its own sound, and there are two different components, so they can kind of both react accordingly to whatever the situation is. And turn that one up. Why not S curve? It works. Just don't usually use those out of habit. I mean, just kind of a specialized curve. I just like to make the curves that you don't hear the fade out. That's kind of the trick, because this thing probably rings for a lot longer. And I'm really only interested in it for a little bit. You don't need a giant ringing sound every single time you block something. That's not a very good one. That one's got some kind of noise in it too at the end there. Yeah, you can like hear all this stuff. It's like right about there. I don't like that one either. Okay, I have one more to choose from. That one's okay, I think. Something weird going on in the end here. And you can hear it like whatever this thing is rebounding right there. So yeah, I don't like that one either. So I'll probably just reuse that one. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm actually going to change that. The S curve sounds So it does the last bit of fading. It fades out rather sharply at the very end, and if you said it's more gradual, it usually isn't as it doesn't sound like the ring gets cut off. Yeah, it just sounds like it's decaying based on its actual properties as opposed to me chopping off the tail. Sounds a little long, actually. Doesn't need to go for that long. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Let's see, am I cutting this off too? I don't have fades on these yet, so let me just do that. So I might add another layer in here. I want it to have a little more of a crunch or attack to it. So let's see if any of these other ones. I just need like a short little sound that I can add in there. Let's try these. There's a lot of these. Oops. Just bring this compressor over here because I'm going to need it here too. So I don't want the ring, I just want the crunch. Those low end in here that I don't really need. This might be very subtle unless I crank it, but we'll see. Yeah, it's there. I hear it. It just makes it a little sharper of attack. Let's put a limiter behind there because I'm going to kind of crank this a little bit more, but I don't want it to get nasty sounding necessarily. Yeah. Okay. Let's edit these the same way. Don't need that tail. Just a little short sound in there that just seeing if there's any that are significantly different. Let's do that one. To add a little more variety. Okay, so don't need these. I don't need these. I'm gonna let these play all four back to back. And then without the attack that I just added. See how it feels softer and kind of pillowy almost. See, I'm just muting this track on and off. Yeah, I like it. I might even turn this initial one down a little bit now. Well, maybe not. That one's got a lot of bass in it, this one in particular. No, it's this thing. That one's more bassy than the others, so. It's also longer, I think. That might be part of it. Let's make it real short. Yeah. Okay. This one just felt different than the others to me. Okay. All right. I'm going to have a sip of water. Sorry if I'm making people jump. I've actually got the Pro Tools session down. See, I've got it turned down a little bit down here because I didn't want it to be so loud compared to my voice. That second one sounds good. Yeah, maybe this is too long. The ring sound is kind of... Probably, it's always better to get away with as short of a sound as possible, especially when you're doing these things, because these things have to get loaded into memory, so it just increases your RAM usage, and by chopping these sounds down and making them as small as possible, things are more efficient. I'm actually going to go back to the original. What is this type of curve? Sometimes these fade out a little quicker and are better. You can get away with a quicker fade. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that to all of them now. Oh, that's why. Okay. Make it short. Yeah. Yeah. This one's more subtle for some reason. Yeah, it's just not as ringy of a sound. Yeah, let's do the same thing to this one. Cool. Yeah, I like it. The whole length of the sound is what?
7 seconds almost, so that's pretty good.
You know, in the heat of battle with lots of sounds playing, you're reducing your voice count by keeping your sounds as short as possible too, because then it's less likely that they'll overlap. So if I made, some long, like 2-second sound, that means more of them are going to stack, just because it's a longer sound, and it's more likely that another one will play by the time the previous one's done. Cool. Cool. All right. Now to do a slash block, ideally I could change this part. Since I'm trying to make these things pretty modular so that I can change different components at runtime when the game is playing based on, what is doing the attacking in this case. And it just makes things easier. You can get, you're more consistent with the sounds across the board, and you can generally get more variation out of a smaller memory footprint as well. So I have some other sounds down here that are more for blades, like that. So let's try these. Yeah, there's a lot of different variation in there, but I'm going to swap these out. I don't need those. So let's just try one before I do all four and see how this works. So I don't need the tail, really. And this is kind of interesting because it's like I was saying before, like there will be the sound of the shield doing the impact, but then there's the sound of the sword hitting it as well, and there's a little bit of overlap just because you kind of can't give all the information or create all the information sonically without sort of acknowledging what the thing is that's attacking you. I don't know if that made sense. I'll show you in a minute. So let's move these dudes. Going to group them and copy them. They go down here. Let's line them up and let's ungroup them. Okay. So there, see how this is that, and this is that. And I think already it kind of sounds like slashes. I guess I should explain that first. So, crushing attacks would be like heavier, blunt objects, and slash attack would be like a sword, obviously. So, does that sound like what a sword sounds like when it hits a shield? Maybe. I don't like that part in it. That feels a little off. So maybe just... It doesn't feel like it's still hitting a shield, sort of. It's just like a metal on metal kind of sound. And it is kind of this part that sells it. It's the lower end of this sound. The kind of hollow sound that makes it sound like it's actually hitting a shield, whereas that's not present here. So let's try this for a second. So that actually kind of works. All I did was just add the one layer now. So it's basically this plus just this one new layer that I picked out. Because it still has the hollow sound to it, which is what I wanted. I need that. Probably take that out maybe. I like it. The other cool thing is when you're bouncing these layers out individually too and putting them back together at runtime, you can like maybe that sound gets mixed differently based on the type of blade that's actually doing the attack. So like, you know, I would set up some other mix that would sort of kind of hint at maybe it's a smaller type blade or something. Like I'd maybe mute this low end sound, maybe pitch up this sound. I'll just show you real quick. I mean, that's doesn't sound great, but see how I don't have an easy way to A/B this, but by pitching up that thing, it makes the whole weapon sound a little smaller, and like turn this down or something. See, so it's still kind of a block sound, but maybe from a different type of weapon. So I'm gonna undo that stuff because I'm not. That will happen on the implementation side in Wwise. Let's see if I can take out this tail a little bit, but yeah, you kind of need it. I don't know why that sounds so long. Let me try a few others and see. I should have this on its own track. So I can do different things to it. Okay. Just going to pull these down. Because I'm going to EQ it differently. Cool. Feels like a blunt object. Feels like a sharp object. I don't have a visual to go by, so like, I don't really know. I mean, I'm thinking of this attack as like a straight on, not straight on, but like edge of the blade hitting onto the shield and just kind of stopping. Maybe I don't want to make my sounds longer if I can help it, but I did pull these sort of sliding sounds out, like stuff like that. I'd probably find a different one, but that could be another layer that sort of helps slides the slashing part of it, because it is, since it's probably a broader stroke than what I'm making it out to be currently, so I can kind of do that a little bit. Let's add another track and see if I can get that in there. I'm gonna have to go do some sound effect browsing though, because I only pulled out one and I immediately don't like it, so let's just search for scrape. Yeah, those are too small. Not really what I'm looking for. It needs to be kind of a dull. Yeah, like almost that. I could almost use part of that. Let's see if anyone's asking any questions. A rebound? Yeah, I don't think there'd be a rebound in this. I mean, there could be, but I don't know what the animation is going to be, and I don't think there'd have a rebound to it. Headphone setup. I have AKG Q701s. They're very nice. It's actually the only pair of headphone I've ever really liked. I've always hated headphones. But these have nice big ear cushions on them. So the headphone driver is not like resting on your ear, which if you're doing sound design and you're wearing them for hours, it starts to hurt after a while. So these have big enough ear cushions that I can stand wearing them for a long enough time. And they sound really good. They're not that expensive. They're like, you get them used for like $115 or something. I say not that expensive, but remember, I'm an audio professional and used to buying audio gear, which is never cheap. So I realized that $115 for a pair of headphones that doesn't do this as a profession might be expensive. But hey, you can spend $800 on a pair of headphones if you want. Voice, I can turn up my voice, yeah. I'm also just kind of soft-spoken. Gain. I need more gain. There, that should be better. Okay. Back to my slashing sound. Yes, I think I like these. Not that one. Probably these two, because they're hollow sounding. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. So do that one. And oops.
and that guy. Let's copy them, bring them to the front, and I already know that I want only a portion of this sound. This might not come through. I mean, this is like a tail, sort of. It's functionally a tail to the sound, because I'm not going to try and fit it in when the impact is happening. So maybe I could do like that part. Yeah. Kind of works. Doesn't sound very sharp though. Sounds dull, which I guess is okay because you are blocking something, so it doesn't need to sound dangerous necessarily. I don't know. Let me just throw these others in there. A little undecided on it so far. Yeah, it's so... Might not be the right metal sound here. It's real slow. And I want it to sound... I mean, it almost... Well, no, I wouldn't put it there. Yeah. It's weird because I'm trying to imagine like more of a glancing blow as opposed to this kind of like dead stop sound. Yeah, let me see if I can find some other scrapes. Not too keen on those so far. Do I like those? Where was it? This guy. Yeah, let's try those. These are all mono sounds, by the way, because they are taking place on the character, and usually the camera is far enough away that there would be little stereo information. But that's good, because that means they take up half as much memory. I have to turn this one up. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's like, if you're going for a glancing kind of blow, then it's like, well, I wouldn't have this thing in it necessarily, so... Maybe I'd just take that out to begin with, or altogether. Yeah, I think I'm okay with taking out that bassy part. Actually, no. Oh, track ordering. Okay, I actually like that. Just a nice little bit of scrapey in there without being too much, but feels like a slash. Yeah. I gotta... What was I using here? Where did the rest of them go? What is this? Oh. I deleted those? Usually I leave them on the track if I'm still adding. I need 2 more. Is that them? I think so. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Didn't bring them down to the new track when I made the track. That one sounds kind of weak. That one's definitely weak. Look at it. He's so tiny. That was a nice one. That one's got a little bit of scrapiness to it too, so let's just try that one as well. Sorry, I hope I'm not making people vomit with this zoom in and zoom out that I always do, but I'm always doing it. There's 2 hotkeys in Pro Tools for it, so you're kind of always zooming out and zooming in and then throwing up because you made yourself nauseous. That sounds kind of cool. The problem with that is it's almost too unique. Meaning that I'm only making 4 variations. And if you have one of them that stands out, then you will notice it repeating. But if they kind of all are a little more homogeneous, you don't notice the repeating. It's kind of counterintuitive, but sometimes that happens. Okay, let's get my scrape in for that one. I actually just want that little bit shortest part. I don't know why I have that sound so long. It doesn't need to be that long. Yeah. Yeah, that one's just, it sticks out too much. Pew! I don't need that. It's interesting, but you'd hear it a lot. Let's try this one. Might also be the same situation. That one almost doesn't have an attack. Did I just cut it off? Weird. It's very kind of glancing. Weird. Maybe this guy's coming in too late. Yeah. And it still needs to have that attack to it. It's weird. Let's try that one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to my crushing blocks. Yeah, they're so dull in comparison, but I think that's kind of okay. I'm used to like this bright, shiny thing now, and then you go back to these, they're like, oh, sounds like a pillow. It's also a lot, these These have more layers in it, so it's louder just because of that, because I have more sounds on it. So there's not a equal volume comparison here, which is something you need to be careful of when you're doing sound design, because the brain tends to favor louder sounds. Even if it's a worse sound, that's why I probably had that off. That's going to help. So this is a meter that I brought up. I just wanted to see what the volume difference is. So minus 22, which is pretty good. It's about where I normally author my sounds at. You usually want games to have a full loudness of, like, you're playing the game for 30 minutes. This meter over here would usually be around minus 23. That's kind of the goal, or at least the standard that people are trying to push now. Yeah, so that one's already like 3 dB louder than this other one. 5 dB, 4 dB. Guess you know why I go by dB now. It's short for decibels. So it's louder, which is part of why I was like, my crushing sound is weak, but it's just louder. So it has these three parts that are all unique. I'm going to turn them all down by 3 dB right now, just to kind of make them more in line with the previous sound I just created. They're still just a lot louder. I mean, technically I shouldn't be looking at short term. I should be looking at, I should be looking at short term. I shouldn't be looking at integrated. But this number changes so quickly, it's hard to look at. It's hard to see what the loudness actually is. I gotta change this thing. Can I make this dude small? Yes, I can. Cool. Running out of screen space here. So I'm going to turn these down. That one I can tell is probably the loudest sound, so I'm just going to back off the compressor a little bit there too. Meant to keep this open. Hit. Play everything. There we go. So better. Still not as loud as, it's still louder than this one. So maybe I'll bring it down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Thing is, which one do I bring down the most? Okay, I think that's close enough. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. All right, and this is going to be the hardest one. I'm going to do piercing blocks, which
if you think about, just imagine like a spear hitting into a shield. I guess it's kind of similar in that it's a glancing type of thing too, but like maybe it just goes straight on and just stops. And then it would just be like a short little dink of a sound. I don't know. Oh, I made a track for those slash impacts that I didn't use. I didn't scroll down all the way. I don't need that right now. Let's see what's down here. So I think the key is just that it's different sounding than the slash block. I'm not too concerned with, I guess, how realistic it is. It just needs to sound different. So that way you're aware of, there's a clear distinction between the three different types when you're blocking, because that's good information to know. Like, what is this guy attacking me with? So I'm going to turn this into a Pierce block track. See, so those are sounds I've already kind of pulled out to maybe be used in this part. So I'm probably going to go with this for the start. Let's bring this guy down here. Do a little strip silence. Whoops, that is not strip silence. That is strip silence. And I'm going to do a similar thing where I bring over previous elements. Question is, which ones? Let's see. That can work. I'm going to leave out the ring because this is going to be like a spear and probably wouldn't ring as much as like a sword. That I need in there probably. Probably don't need that. I'm going to change that. So that and that. Let's group those. Carry them over. You can see I'm using these little yellow markers that I've made in the session to line up the impacts. Let's leave that with the crush block. But, probably won't put that in there either. Alright, let's just see where this gets us. Yeah. I don't know. It's not going to be a very glamorous sound. It kind of works though. Does that sound like someone trying to poke you? Let's see. I'm going to drink some water. Let's see. This one is harder to visualize, yeah. So is sound dB adjusted when everything is mixed in the other game, or is it mostly during creation? I'm not sure specifically what you're asking, but this is definitely sort of a modular system, meaning that I'm going to bounce out individual layers here. So like I'm not just going to do that as the whole sound. I will bounce out that and that and that, maybe individually, all as separate files. And then I can pitch and vary them based on other parameters, like on maybe like what specific type of weapon is being used, or I guess for this case, like what type of shield it is or something, and just try and get some mileage out of that, just to create variation, just so that when you make a new shield, it might actually sound, different than the previous shield you had. Even though it's still kind of doing a block, it might sound subtly different. Might not be huge differences, you kind of have to play with this in game once you get it set up, and maybe I'll come back later and replace a layer with something that's got more variation to it or whatever. But that's kind of the idea, is things are kind of remixed in the game based on, stats from the shield or whatever. This one's funny. I think it sounds maybe too sharp. Like maybe I don't want that, because that makes it sound kind of small almost. Let's just mute that for a second. That's not it, but I'm trying to figure out which direction to go here with this one. I knew it was going to be the hardest one, and that's kind of why I did it last. I don't think it's a real obvious sound. Like, you kind of know what that is, but this is just, somebody like thrusting a spear at you, and you block it with the shield. It's just kind of going to go pop. It's going to be a real short sound. It's not going to do much. So I feel like that's too hard sounding, and I've lost some of that part of it. So maybe I'll find another shield impact sound that haven't used. Which one did I use the first time anyways? Large 01. I think I have 3 different ones down here. Yeah, 02. Let's see what this. Okay. I dig it. Let's try it. Sounds kind of dull, which is what a shield would sound like. You don't really hear it, so I'm gonna duplicate this track. And bring it on down to this other part, just so I have it on a separate layer. And I'm just going to color coordinate it so that when I come back to the session, things are a little more clear as to what's going on. So I'm going to compress this sound. Still clipping the output on this thing, but not really sure why. Oh, it's because my friggin' gain on that is so high on the EQ part of this. Hmm. Yeah, so I don't need that stuff. That's... Maybe I don't want that layer. It's real loud. Maybe I'll turn it down. I think that is more kind of what I want. Because with this in there, just... I don't want ring, really, because neither a shield nor a spear are going to ring a lot. Think of, like, ring as, like, coming from, like, an axe or, like, a hammer or sword, obviously, but not really like a spear and a shield. So it's going to be kind of a dull, muted sound. Let's throw some of these others. It's not really low end to it. I'm going to do some automation here, and I'm going to turn both these down a little bit for this part. This is the volume automation, just meaning I'm setting two different volumes. So here they're at normal volume. Here I've turned both those layers down just a little bit. That almost rings too much. Even though it says shield metal hit large. It actually is a shield hitting. Or a shield being hit, rather. Yep. I'm gonna get aggressive with this. This is a sort of a distortion plugin, but not like super distortion. Just gonna see if I can. Sounds like a trash can. Could have just recorded a trash can. I'm going to change out this sound just because, I mean, I want something similar. I'm just going to find a different thing that pretty much accomplishes the same thing, but it's just different, just for the sake of having a difference between them. These are sword surface impacts. Let's just bring them back in through here. Sword surface. Okay, so I had A. That was the first one. I don't know why it's panned all the way to the left. Huh. Those are MS. Interesting. Oh, I've used those. That might be good. Because that's a wood pole, which is like a spear. Even though it's kind of a wood impact, I think it has the right qualities that I'm looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this because I'm pretty sure I'm going to want it on its own track. Bring that guy down just so I know which audio clip I used. I don't really want the rebound, but yeah, that's a better one without the rebound to it. They get kind of weak towards the end of it. Let's see. Don't need the ring. Oh, yeah. Let's mute those. Maybe I'm going a little too heavy with this distortion here. It's starting to sound like it is distorted.
That's such a weak sound. Yeah, I don't know if I like those. I might have something. Maybe I can just use the wood impacts. Those might actually come across better. Siege wood metal impact. No, not that. No. Nope. Nope. I turn that off while I'm previewing these. Nope. 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 I recorded those myself, so maybe I'll try and use those. Let's throw those in. These are the ones I said I didn't like? Yes. I'm going to have to boost them a lot. They're fairly quiet. That compressor's just kind of getting in the way. I need an EQ in there. Needs to be brighter. I think about 5K is what I need to boost. Do I want the echo? Maybe. Let's bring, wait, this is on a different, yeah, it's on a separate track. So let's bring, oh, you know what, probably. Yeah, I do have volume automation in there. That's why the volume wasn't changing before. Let's find a few others. That one's kind of bassy. Might be too bassy. No? You hear the background. Try this one. It's fairly bright. I don't need the tail. Oops. Let's take, no, that one had a little bit of a rattle. Yeah. I think this one's okay. It's a weird sound. It's kind of uneventful, but think it needs more tail to it, even though I kind of said the opposite when I first started. I don't know if I like this part. It's funny because that's shield metal hit large. That's what I'm making, but I don't actually like that sound. I don't know why. I don't expect a piercing attack to necessarily ring as much, even though you can do a pierce with like swords and stuff like that. So it's not like it's just spears that are doing this, but I'm gonna take some water. Yeah, currently is a thrusting weapon hitting a shield. The guy's talking to us or himself? Mostly to myself, but so that you can hear my inner dialogue. Will the drinking sound be in the game? Yes. Cool. I've only got another 30 minutes, so this one's hard because this sounds like a medium or large weapon doing a piercing attack, but I know there's smaller things that you can do a piercing attack with, so I might just have to make a separate sound for those later, but let me just compare all three now and bring up my meter here. It's definitely quieter than the other ones because there's not as many sounds playing. Alright, let's bring that up. Let's just get rid of that volume automation. Because that's actually the shield response, so to speak. Maybe we won't have a separate like sound for the shield being hit and then the weapon hitting as well. It might just be that those things are so coupled together that it doesn't really make sense to split them apart. We'll just have to see. I know some games have done both. Kind of depends. You certainly have to factor in both sides of the equation when you're deciding which sound to play, but maybe it's just easier to only play one sound based on the two parameters as opposed to having two sounds playing based on different parameters independently of each other. So I still got a lot of volume to make up. What is this? That's the sound I don't like as much. This is kind of the pokey sound. The hokey pokey sound. That second one doesn't work. And that third one just sounds really grainy. Maybe I should back off on my limiter a little bit. Probably making things sound a little distorted when I don't need to. Let's find a better pokey sound. There are birds in the background of this one, but I can probably edit it out. So short. I like this one. It has a little bit of a scruff to it. A little bit of high-end detail. I mean, this sound is still so loud in comparison to that one. It's also, I mean, it's just so short, so let me just play these without this sound for a second. And with. Without. With. I hear it, but I don't know if I like it. Oh hell, let's just throw back in the sound that I said I didn't like. Maybe if I make this really short, I can get the tinkiness out of it, because it sounds almost too wooden. The whole thing. So that's its own track. Let's bring it up to full volume. And let's keep it real short, because it's just a poke. That one's weak sounding. Yeah, it's weird. It's funny, I almost like it now without these. That's what happens, like, when you work on a sound, like, you listen to it, and you keep listening to it, you keep listening to it, and you keep listening to it, keep listening to it. And then, of course, naturally, you get kind of tired of it. And then you change something, which may actually have been undoing something that you did before. And you're like, oh, wait, I like it now. But it's really just because it just changed. So sound design is like a bunch of like weird mind games that you play with yourself. And you kind of have to learn to recognize when certain things are happening about the way you're perceiving it. Maybe that's just me and I'm insane or something, but yeah, something about that just yeah, it needs to be real short. And then I think I'm okay with it. Because it sounds so much like a sword that when you let it play anything more than just a little dink, it gives away what it is. And yeah. Okay. I'm happy with that for now. I only have 30 minutes, so I'm going to move on to a shield crush. Let's clean up those things. And I need to make one for wood, as well as one for a metal shield, doing like if you hit someone with your shield, this is basically what this is.
I guess I'm doing 5 of these. 5 each. And I need new tracks for these. Let's just delete this track. I'm not using it. All of the tracks are being used. Let's make... I'll just do one for now, because I usually just duplicate them anyways. Shield. ATAX. Give it a color. Possibly the most important part of sound design. Making sure your tracks are colored appropriately. And let's just search shield and see what that brings up. Nope. Ooh. Let's turn off MS and actually let's turn the... Is that volume? Yeah. Turn down the volume here. I realized that was loud. And those are those sounds I've used before. Those kind of have fun little rings to them. I'll start there, maybe. I'll need to do wood too, so I know that'll be on a different track. Let's see. Nope, nope. Some of those other sounds are real funny. I actually like those. Those are kind of cool. Let's see, that's all I see for shields. So I need metal impacts. It's weird, I updated this program and now I think it's panning mono sounds to the left for some reason, when it should just play a mono sound in the middle. Why do you do that to me, program? Don't see anything obvious, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. I mean, that's the pan. Anyways, everything's playing out the left side. That's annoying. Let's look for just... I have a debris library, but this is probably not going to be... the right kind of metal sounds. I need something that's fairly self-contained. What happens if I pitch this up? I kind of like that. Let's add that to the metal part. This is the pitch slider right here in this program. So I can play things at different pitches. That's higher pitched, lower pitched. Don't need that sound, but you get the idea. Oh, wait. Actually has a nice kind of heaviness to it, which I like. Too loose. Don't need all that rattle. Rattle. Nope. It's weird. You, as a sound designer, you start like, you learn to like listen for just little tiny slivers of sound that might work. So like, you know, like. Could work. Let's see what the short is. Excuse me. I don't think I like that much. No. Steel lid? No. No, those are real small pieces. Probably not what I need. I think I already listened to these, didn't I? That's a great sound. That's not what I need, but same. It's glass, but it kind of sounds, could almost be a shield. I'm not going to use that though. Let me just start assembling stuff and see where I want to have. I definitely want this. Oh, wait. I like to keep them down at the end when I can.
That one sounds a little too tin canny, sort of. Sounds too small. One does too a little bit. You want it to sound like heavy, not like cheap metal. So. I wonder if I should just pitch all these down. Let's just see what that does. I haven't done any pitching much in this session. Oh wait, which one do I want? Parametric. Compared to all the way down? No. Kind of like that. Oops, let me move this guy up and then do it. Because I'm actually lengthening the file too. Sounds like a nice good shield bonk. Well, I don't need that tail, but actually I might with this sound, so. Might have to move my markers here. Let's just go with that. Oops, I didn't pitch that one. What was my setting? It was like... Okay. The attack on that's kind of annoying. Just because of the compressor, but... Why is it so hard to click on that red little... I don't really want that as part of the attack, so I might just do that, but I'll get there in a minute. Let's see, what else do I have over here? Some thuds. That's a good thud. Let's bring that in. Yeah, the attack on that is just, I don't know, I'll have to add other layers to see where that gets me first, but can see that it is going to be problematic. The attack means just like the very first part of the sound. Okay. These are all just little parts that I'm adding in that are not heavily featured, but that first one's so good, but it's actually got some sub to it, but the others don't. At least not on these headphones. I need to compress them just because they're all different levels a little bit. Okay. What do I have down there? Oh, that's for wood. Okay, so clearly I still need more shield bash stuff. Let's just go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to go look for some more material. I'm just going to search impact in general. I'm going to turn these down because some of these are like super loud. I kind of already went through this debris library. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's what I need. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah, this is... There's some thud to it, but... Let me turn this back down. That's maybe part of it. That's kind of the tail of it. I still need more attack to it. Let me just see what else I have in this session, because there's probably lots of stuff in here that would work. Mm-hmm. Those kind of scrapes would actually probably be good for this, because it's a shield. I don't know. Maybe I will use that part in these. Oh, come on, that's not what I copied. At least I don't think it was. Copy. Okay. Oh, wait. Wrong section. Okay. So this is almost a little too loose, like I was saying. Maybe I don't like that now. What do I have on this one? Yeah, that might be a better tail than those other ones, but it's also kind of huge sounding. But I can make it smaller by cutting the tail off. What does it sound like without that ring? Did someone saying you lost the stream? I still see it on my other computer playing, so I'm assuming everyone can hear me. This is for a shield bash. Like, you use your shield to hit someone. Reusing the thump from before. Tail's maybe a little too long here. It's somewhat comical almost. Boing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to this. Don't need a rattle. I don't know, that's probably not even doing anything in that layer. I mean, it kind of is at the end, but I don't want it to rattle that long. Still doesn't have a very good attack to it. And I like a little bit of the rattle just because it's kind of a sloppy attack, you know, if you're just smashing someone with your shield, you imagine it to kind of be a little loose sounding, not like super precise or anything. Yeah, and see, like on this one, there's a little bit of lead into it, like a whoosh, which would probably help sell this one. I don't know how long the actual attack takes place, and I will probably use whooshes just on the swing on the animation as a separate sound instead of baking it into the sound. So that's going to feel like that's missing from the sound just a little bit, but I'll have to do it later. Don't even hear that. It's weird. This ring is just so long. Oh yeah, that one doesn't have the fifth, because in these other ones I was only using 4. Steel drum. Yeah, see, like they sound better when the tail's a little bit shorter. Still don't have a good attack. Well, it's already 2:30. Doesn't look like I'm going to finish this one. I'm going to keep working on the attack because that's what it needs right now. Is it just, you know, just, I don't know. It sounds like you accidentally bumped into something as opposed to like you attacked someone. It's just kind of a, just doesn't hit very hard right now. So I'll have to play with that to get it to be a little more aggressive sounding. And I think, I guess I'm done. See if you guys have any other questions real quick. Yeah, I mean, it will be kind of muted. But it's also a shield, so you expect shields to, you know, it's this big flat piece of metal. It's going to ring a little bit, but yeah, I mean, you don't want the tail to be too long. I mean, it's kind of a sloppy attack, so cool. Okay. I think I'm gonna call it for now. Thanks everyone for watching and listening, and I hope you found this informative. And thank you everyone for your support. I appreciate it, as does the rest of the company. Okay, bye. I'll just end the stream on some really weird, creepy whispering. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye bye.